Hello students, welcome to class 12 physics class. Today we discuss a very important topic or some important topic related to dielectrics. So first we recall the previous class, what we studied in previous class. In previous class we studied the details about the dielectrics, definition of dielectrics, the types of dielectrics, and we got that there are two types of molecules, polar molecules and non-polar molecules. Okay, so polar molecules means those are polar molecules, examples are CO2. That means those are polar and non-polar molecule. Okay, so polar molecules whose center of gravity of positive charge and negative charge do not coincide each other. That means they have a they are separated by a distance. That means they have a permanent electric dipole moment, but inside the dielectric these molecules are randomly aligned. So when we place that type of dielectric slab inside an external electric field, they will align in the direction of the external electric field and they get polarized. Okay, but in case of a non-polar molecule, the positive charge and negative charge, the center of gravity for both charges are coincide each other. Okay, coincide each other, that means they did not have a electric dipole. So when we place that type of, that means non-polar dielectric slab or dielectric substance inside an electric field, first they will separate by a distance. So when these two plus and minus charges are separated by a distance, they form a electric dipole and they get polarized. And we also see that in case of a CO2, when it is in the absence of electric field, the no electric dipole is there, so dipole moment is 0. And when we placed in an external electric field, they will separate and they will form an electric dipole, so electric dipole moment also be there. So net electric dipole moment, that is P. It exerts a dipole because they are separated by a distance. So when they form an electric dipole moment also be there, and its direction always negative to positive. Okay, this will you understand when we discuss the behavior of the dielectric slab inside an electric field. Then you understand this P1 and P2 is same, then how we get this P1. Okay, after polarized of that, if we consider the this example, CO2 is a non-polar molecule. After placing inside an external electric field, so these two are equal, then how we get the polarized dipole moment after polarization. Okay, so generally when a non-polar molecule is placed in an electric field, the centers of positive and negative charges get displaced, and then this total procedure for in case of a polar molecule and the non-polar molecule, that is they are aligned in a direction of external electric field. This total procedure is called polarization. Okay, so in case of a polar molecule, we have a permanent electric dipole, but their alignment is not that randomly they are aligned inside the dielectric slab because of their thermal agitation. But in case of a non-polar, they do not have a permanent electric dipole. When we get the electric dipole, when we place them inside an external electric field. Now today we discuss the linear isotropic dielectric. So linear isotropic dielectric means these are the substance in which the induced dipole moment in the direction of external electric field. Whatever that means, when we placed inside an external electric field, a dipole moment is also induced. Okay, and the direction of dipole moment is towards the external electric field. And as we increase the strength of the electric field, this dipole moment strength also increases. And if the dielectric is placed in, for example, if the dielectric placed inside an uniform electric field E0, it is denoted by E0, it get polarized. So now if we consider P vector, this will be some keep it in your mind. The polarization vector is denoted by capital P. but the electric dipole moment, that is small p. Okay, dipole moment is small p. Small p, all are small p, not the capital P. Please keep it in your mind. This is small, this is small. Okay, understand? So electric dipole moment is denoted by small p vector, and polarization vector is denoted by capital T, p vector. So now we consider that p vector is a polarization vector, and how we define this one, polarization of such material. It's defined as the electric dipole moment per unit volume. Per unit volume, the number of electric dipole moment is known as the polarization vector. And this direction of P is same as that of the external electric field E naught. The direction of capital P is towards the external electric field direction. Okay, understand? Now we understand it clearly. If you understand this one, then you understand how we get this dipole moment. Okay, so we placed a dielectric slab inside an inside an external electric field, plus to minus, that this is the direction of external electric field E naught, and the thickness of the dielectric slab is D. So when we place, they will align towards the direction of the molecules of the dielectrics, aligned towards the external electric field. So this minus plus minus plus minus plus, they are separated by a distance and they form an electric dipole. So we get an electric dipole moment. Now in this case, see, this plus and this minus, this plus, this minus, plus minus, plus minus, this plus and this minus, they are cancel each other, neutralized each other. So after cancelling this side, so only in left side only negative charges are left, and on the right side only positive charges are there. So there is a very long distance between this negative charge and this positive charge, because these are cancel each other or neutralized each other. So this minus and this plus now acts as a electric dipole, so that it has a electric dipole moment, and this one is this dipole moment P. Understood? So now when they in left side, when the negative charges are accumulated over and the positive charges are there, so they has a surface charge density. This side we consider minus sigma P, and because they are the polarized molecule, that's why minus sigma P, and this side is a plus sigma P. And due to that, inside the dielectric we get a electric dipole, polarized electric field, which is opposite to the external electric field, that is EP. So this EP reduce or opposes the external electric field. So what is the net electric field? So net electric field, this E is the reduced electric field, that is equals to E naught minus EP. Because E naught is always greater than EP. So this minus this, that means how much it opposes, that is E. E is the reduced electric field. So did you understand? Linear isotropic, that means the induced dipole moment in the direction of induced dipole moment, see, negative to positive, this side dipole moment, and this is the direction of E, external electric field. That's why we write here induced dipole moment in the direction of external electric field, and as we increase the strength of the external electric field, this also be increases. And the polarization vector is denoted by capital P, and is defined as the electric dipole moment per unit volume. And from this figure we see that the after polarization, the inside the dielectric slab, all charges, the plus and minus, are neutralized each other. Only left side and right side, some negative and some positive charges are left, and due to that negative and the positive charges, they form an electric dipole, and we see that the dipole moment direction is towards the external electric field. So and due to that induced or due to that polarized charges, we get one electric field inside the dielectric, that is EP, positive to negative, which is opposite to the external electric field, and which opposes the external electric field also, reduce the external electric field. So how much is reduced, we find out, we denoted by small capital E, that is equals to E0 minus EP. and due to this it acquires the left face and the right face of the dielectric also acquires the surface charge densities minus sigma p and plus sigma p. That means they acquires the charges plus minus qp, because we know that, and it's, if we consider its area is a, the surface area is a, so sigma equals to surface charge density means the charge per unit area. That means sigma equals to, we know that, q by a. So in this case sigma p equals to qp by a. So if sigma p is there, sigma p, why we get this surface charge density? Because one charge is acquired in its two faces. Okay, so we say that this dielectric slab of surface area a and its thickness is d acquires a surface charge density plus minus sigma p due to its polarization in the electric field, and its two faces acquires the charges plus minus qp. Okay, next, so we said we can write sigma p, that is equals to qp by a. Now if we consider that whole dielectric slab as a large dipole, you see that because they in between these charges are neutralized each other, so they are cancelled. So this side to this side, this is a large distance, so this is a long electric dipole, a large electric dipole. So we consider the whole dielectric slab as a large dipole having dipole moment equal to qp into d, because we know that dipole moment in definition is charge into distance. So this thickness of the dielectric slab, this is the distance between this minus and plus charge. So qp plus minus any charge, that means qp polarized charge into distance d. So polarization density or polarization vector, the polarization density vector p equals to, how we define that one, polarization density, this p is a polarization vector, sometimes it is called, or sometimes it is called polarization density vector. So this is called electric dipole moment per unit volume. That means dipole moment of the dielectric divided by volume of the electric field. The dipole moment is qp into d and the volume is a into d, the area into thickness. So after that we get qp by a, and qp by a means sigma p, surface charge density qp. So we define as the charge induced per unit surface area. Charge induced per unit surface area is called polarization density. Okay, and it is a vector quantity, polarization density, or this polarization density is equal to the surface charge density, polarized surface charge density. Okay, so we can define in three ways. One is a dipole moment per unit volume. One is a charge induced per unit surface area is called polarization density, or polarization density is equal to the surface charge, polarized surface charge density. Okay. Next term related to this electric dielectric is electric susceptibility. This electric susceptibility is a term which also gives us the behavior of dielectric inside an electric field. That means totally the behavior of the dielectric. So how we define this electric susceptibility is defined as or denoted by chi. This is a Greek word chi, chi, chi. Okay. So how we define this one? Okay, so as we know that if the electric field E, that means that is a reduced electric field, is not so large. If this E equals to E naught minus EP, if this EP and E0 is not so large, that means this E also very small. So if E is not so large, then this polarization density P is directly proportional to the reduced electric field. P proportional to E, and P equals to epsilon naught chi into E. So this epsilon naught chi, this is a proportionality constant, and why we multiply with the epsilon naught? Because to make this chi as a dimensionless quantity. So chi is the electric susceptibility and it is called also proportionality constant. Okay, so epsilon naught is used to keep chi dimensionless. So from this expression we can say that chi equals to P by epsilon naught into E. So how we define the electric susceptibility? The ratio of the polarization density to epsilon naught of the reduced electric field, epsilon naught times of the reduced electric field is called electric susceptibility. Clear? It is a ratio between polarization density vector to epsilon naught times the reduced electric field is called electric susceptibility. Another one constant, so this is one terms related to electric susceptibility which gives us the behavior of dielectric. Another one constant we studied earlier also in the first chapter, that is dielectric constant, and it is denoted by capital K. In some books it is related as a small k. So whatever notation you use, continuously you maintain that one. And if first chapter if you denoted by capital K, then also you also use the capital K. If you use the small k that time also, so here also use small k. So dielectric constant is denoted by K. And what is the dielectric constant? Dielectric constant, in first chapter we studied this expression, the ratio between the permittivity of the medium to the permittivity of the free space. This is the permittivity of that medium to the permittivity of the free space is called dielectric constant, and it is denoted by K. And because it is a ratio, that's why it has no unit. And in this case, from that, or we can say that from that expression we can also find out this expression. So in this case, what we get, in this case, the linear isotropic dielectric, the induced surface charges set up an electric field EP, as we see in that figure inside the dielectric field, and that direction of induced or polarized electric field is opposite to the external electric field. So resultant electric field is E0 minus EP, and this E is directed towards the external electric field, because E0 is maximum. E0 minus EP, whatever we get from this subtraction value, that means E, the direction of this resulting electric field towards the E naught or external electric field. Okay, so we can write, mathematically we can write the K equals to dielectric constant K equals to E0, the ratio between original electric field or the original external electric field. You write it here, original external electric field E0 and the reduced electric field. Reduced electric field means E0 minus EP, that is equals to E. Reduced electric field or resultant electric field in the dielectric is called dielectric constant, or it is also called relative permittivity. So K equals to E0 by E, that is a reduced electric field, and in place of E we can write E0 minus EP. So this is called dielectric constant. Now this dielectric constant and electric susceptibility are related to each other, and now we establish the relation between them. What is the relation? As we know that E equals to E0 minus EP, okay, and from here we see that from here we see that this polarization vector P equals to sigma P, and we know that that EP equals to sigma P by epsilon naught, because this two plate acts as a thin sheet. And we also studied in a Gauss's law, one application is there, that due to thin sheet, because here the both sheets combine together, that's why we get sigma by epsilon. Otherwise we get, for one single sheet we get sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So sigma P, that is a polarized electric field, the combined effect inside between them, that is equals to sigma P by epsilon naught. And sigma P is equals to the polarization density P by epsilon naught. Okay, so now in place of EP we can write P by epsilon naught. Now from this expression, P equals to what we get, epsilon naught chi into E. Okay, so P in place of P we write it here. So E0 minus epsilon naught chi E by epsilon naught, because P equals to we get from the definition of electric susceptibility. Now both sides if we divide by E, then we get 1 minus E0 by E minus chi. epsilon naught cancel. After dividing by E, so E also cancel, so we have only chi. So E0 by E, that is nothing but dielectric constant K. So in place of this, you can write K1 equals to K minus chi, or we can say that K equals to 1 plus chi. So this is the relationship between the dielectric constant and the electric susceptibility. It is very easy. Just stepwise you remember. First you write this thing, then you replaced EP by surface charge. From that definition, or from that derivation, we know that from due to the thin sheet what the electric field we get, and this sigma is referred or in place of sigma p we can write the polarization density, because it is equal, both are equal to each other. Now we placed it here. Then in place of P, from the definition of electric susceptibility, we get this one. So epsilon naught cancel each other. Now both sides is divided by E. So we get this ratio, and this ratio is known as K. So we get K equals to 1 plus chi. So this is the relationship between K and X. Now some more important topic of this chapter, that is dielectric strength. So before we discuss the dielectric strength, first we have to understand what do you mean by electric breakdown. Okay, if you understand these things, then you can understand dielectric strength also, because electric strength is related to electric breakdown. So what is electric breakdown? So let's first we draw that previous one diagram. These are the two plates. This is positive charge, negative charge, external electric field. In between them we placed a dielectric slab, and in this plus minus they are neutralized each other, so we have only left side negative charges and right side positive charges. That means it gets polarized, and in polarized dielectric, atoms get stretched. That means this negative is attracted this positive charge. That means this negative charge is stretched from the atoms, and this negative charge attracted this positive charge. Okay, so this is the step number 1. Now there is now after step number 2, what is the difference between them? Here more charges are there. That means we increase the external electric field strength of the external electric field. Then what happen? When we increase it, in step 1 it will be polarized. That means it has only this side, this dielectric slab, it has only the negative charge this side, positive charge this side. After that, if we increase the strength of the electric field, external electric field, what happened? These negative charges stretch more and more. So the electrons from the atoms, the outer shells of electrons from the atoms detach from it, and it behaves as a conductor. That means when it detaches from the atom, it becomes a free electron, and it moves inside the dielectric slab. So from this molecule, these electrons attracted by this positive charge, so that this electron breaks that covalent bond, or breaks the on that outer shell orbit and detach from the atoms, and it becomes a positive charge. When electron detach from the atoms become positive charge. We know this one. So here also same things. So after that, what happened? This all side electrons are there, and this side positive are there. And this procedure, when negative charge and positive charge separated by each other, okay, from atoms, when electrons detach from the atoms, so atoms becomes positive, and that positive one is attracted by the negative plate of the negative side of the plate. Okay, so this total procedure is called ionization process. Understand? And this one, when this electron breaks, this electron detach from the atoms, outer shell of the orbit, detached from the atoms, this is called electric breakdown. And in this condition, this dielectric completely lost its insulating property and behaves as a conductor, because now it has a lots of free electrons, and these free electrons are acts as a charge carriers. Understand? So what is the electric breakdown? Electric breakdown, as the electric field increases, the atoms are stretched more and more, the electrons get detached from the atoms, and the atoms become positive ion. And this process, when the electrons detach from its atom, this process is known as electric breakdown. Understood? Now this is the condition. In this condition, the dielectric behaves as a conductor because they completely lost its insulating property. So this is called electric breakdown. So now if we consider one example, suppose first we apply 100 Newton per Coulomb electric field. So they will polarized, but the electrons cannot detach from the atoms. Now we increase 100 to 150 Newton per Coulomb. Then also the electrons cannot detach from the atoms. Now if we apply 300 Newton per Coulomb electric field, external electric field, now we see that the electrons detach from the atoms. And if we apply 299 Newton per Coulomb, then we see that in this electric field also electrons cannot detach from its atom. But when just 1 Newton per Coulomb electric field applied, one more, that means 300 Newton per Coulomb electric field is applied, the electrons detach from its atoms. So this is the electric field. This is called electric breakdown, and this is called electric and dielectric strength. So this dielectric has strength when it placed up to 299 Newton per Coulomb external electric field. Understood? Not this one. The maximum value of the electric field intensity that can be applied to the dielectric without its electric breakdown, it's known as electric strength. So what is the electric strength of this one? Then 299 Newton per Coulomb, because at 300 Newton per Coulomb the electrons get detached from its atoms. Understood? So this is called when the electron detached from its atom, that is called electric breakdown, because after that the ionization process is done. So before ionization process, that is the maximum value of this dielectric substance where the electrons cannot detach from its atom. So that is called dielectric strength. Okay, so here the definition is written over there. The maximum value of the electric field intensity that can be applied to the dielectric without its electric breakdown is known as, that means when the electric breakdown is not started, that means when 299 Newton per Coulomb applied, electric breakdown not started. So 299 is the maximum value, because if after 299 when we apply 300 Newton per Coulomb electric field, electric breakdown started. So without its electric breakdown is known as the dielectric strength, and it is denoted by E breakdown equals to potential V breakdown by D. From this expression, V equals to E into D, and its unit is same as the electric field, that is volt per meter. And another one of the last topic of today's class, displacement vector or dielectric vector. I think this is not included in your syllabus, but you have to know at least the idea. You have the idea about this one. In higher study you also in details you study this one. Displacement vector or dielectric vector, it is denoted by capital D. The letter is capital D. It is a vector field, that's why we written as a vector in a non-conducting medium, that means a dielectric. And this displacement vector D is directly proportional to the external electric field external electric field E naught, in which dielectric is placed. So what is the expression of dielectric displacement vector? Displacement vector we get from this expression. started from this expression, we know that the resultant electric field vector E equals to E0 minus EP, and because E0 due to that two thin sheets, we can write the external electric field sigma by epsilon naught, because they are the conductors, so the free electrons are there, so sigma by epsilon, and this is EP due to the dielectric slab in between, so that because of it in terms of EP we can write sigma P by epsilon naught. That is from the thin infinite sheet, from that concept we can write. Now after simplifying this one, so epsilon naught multiplied this side, epsilon naught E, that is equal to sigma minus sigma P. Now sigma P comes this side plus sigma P, that is equal to sigma. Now this epsilon naught E plus sigma P, this is called displacement vector. In place of sigma P we can write polarization density vector P. So this sigma equals to epsilon naught E plus P vector, and this one is called displacement vector D. So displacement vector, that is equals to epsilon naught times of the reducing electric field plus polarization density vector. Now we can express this displacement vector in many ways. How? Because E0 equals to sigma by epsilon. So sigma equals to epsilon naught into epsilon, E naught into epsilon. So in place of sigma we can write this one. So D equals to epsilon naught into E0. That is one expression. This is a relation between displacement vector and the external electric field. Another one we can write between the from the definition of dielectric constant, K equals to E0 by E. So E0 equals to K into E. Now in this here is in place of E naught we can write this one K into E naught. So D equals to K into E naught into epsilon naught. Now from the definition related to permittivity, that means this one E by epsilon naught, if we write it here epsilon by epsilon naught, then epsilon naught cancel each other, so we have E into epsilon. So D equals to E into epsilon. This is the relation between displacement vector and the reduced electric field. Epsilon naught times the reduced electric field, and epsilon naught is the permittivity of the medium. So we have two relations, one between reducing electric field with displacement vector, and the one external electric field with displacement vector. So mainly the displacement vector is also called dielectric vector. It is a vector field in a non-conducting medium, and that is a dielectric, and it is denoted by D, and it is directly proportional to the external electric field E naught. And the expression of D equals to epsilon naught E plus P. D equals to this one you can also write, or you can directly write sigma. This sigma means due to these two plates, not due to the dielectric slab. Due to this two plate, due to the free charges. You can also denote it sigma free, because there is a denoted by sigma P polarized. So here you can write sigma free, the free charges. Due to free charges we get the surface charge density. So D equals to what we get, that is equals to D. That means D equals to displacement vector D equals to epsilon naught into E plus P. This is a expression of displacement vector. Okay, have a nice day. If you have any problem, then please write in a comment box. Tata.